Hello, my name is Clayton, and welcome to episode 135 of the Watch Dog podcast. I'm a professional dog runner and watch enthusiast, talking to his pals about dogs and watches. How's everyone doing? Thank you so much for listening. You know, I appreciate it. I hope everybody is doing well. I am going to keep this intro to Sanjay Part 2 very short because, as you can probably tell, yes, I have a cold. My wife got it first, and no amount of airborne and banishing her to the upstairs could prevent me from getting it too eventually. So it's all just kind of trapped in my head. I'm just very congested. I sound worse than I actually feel, but oh, yeah, I have a foggy head, foggier than usual. So, yes, part 2 of the Sanjay interview. I know I left it on a cliffhanger last week. Yep, I'm such a tease, but yeah, the rest of the episode here for you. I will say Sanjay's internet goes in and out a little bit here and there. We recorded early in the morning, and I think as his family got up and used the internet, it kind of dipped. So that does happen a couple times, and I apologize for that. But you know what? You don't really miss out on anything because of that. But just wanted to warn you. Always wonderful to catch up with my friend, and I hope to have him on more often than, once every 2 years. But yeah, can't wait to hear about his collection, his new watch, my new watch, and everything else in part 2 of the discussion. So here we go. Sanjay, part 2. We'll see you on the other side of the interview. Well, yeah, I guess we should probably go into our new watches. But yeah, so where is your collection at now before we get into your brand new Grand Seiko UFA?
I don't know. See, it's hard to count them because some watches I don't really count as part of the core collection. Okay, anyway.
Yeah, how about your core collection? Yeah.
It's probably, I'm gonna say 4.
Okay.
I've got that steel and gold Black Bay 36 and a Breitling Super Ocean.
Yes. You sent me a picture of that when you bought that. Oh man, I love that watch.
Yeah, me too. And the one I'm wearing right now. I don't know if we're gonna just get into that or.
Sure. Yeah. We're 40 minutes in, so I guess we probably should at some point. You know how we get, especially when we haven't talked in a long time.
Right. Yeah. On my wrist is the SLGB SLGB 003, right? Yeah, that's right. SLGB 003. The UFA. I'm wearing my new UFA. I've had it for 2 weeks now, and I love it. It's the best watch Green Seiko's ever made, in my opinion. It's perfect size, absolute perfect size. It's got 99% of the hands I want. The dolphin hands. Only like the very tip of the hour hand has been chopped off for some reason. Thank you, evolution. But yeah, 99% of the hands that I want, the right movement, at least for my main Grand Seiko that I want, spring drive, and not just any spring drive. I'm overplaying it, but it's got the 9RB2, beautifully simplistically decorated, but very fine adjusted. Wait, no, that's the wrong one. Ultra fine accuracy.
Yes.
Not very fine adjusted. Fine accuracy, 20 seconds a year. Really, really enjoying it. Hasn't deviated at all, minus within spec. Although it's kind of silly. I feel like it's kind of silly that they put this very fine adjusted movement, but they didn't do a jumping hour hand. I feel that should have been part of it, because now in a couple of weeks, I'm going to have to mess up my accuracy.
Yeah, that stinks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they got it right with it. Like the SBGP 015 that we had. You could just skip back an hour or spring forward an hour, and you wouldn't lose your accuracy. But anyway, small gripe there. But yeah, it's the perfect watch Green Seiko's made. The bracelet is really nice. It feels really good to wear, and micro adjust wasn't really a big thing for me, but it's nice to have as well. and I put it on a strap right now. I have it on my deluxe strap, which is apparently 5 years old now. My deluxe strap is 5 years old, and it's still going strong. Yeah, my strap's about to go to school.
Aw.
Um, it looks so good on the strap. I didn't want to take it off the bracelet for the first week or so, but when I did, I was really glad I did because it just looks so good on strap. It's on. I'm a strap guy, and it looks really really good. I'm really excited about the SLG SLG 003.
uh, yeah, I mean, it's congratulations. I got to check it out in person. Now, that was a watch I dismissed when it was released because of the size, but I got to tell you,
Right.
37 millimeter, right? I got to tell you,
Yes.
it fits fine. I am comfortable with smaller watches. The BB54 is a 37 millimeter dive watch, and I don't even worry about it being small. So yeah, don't care about it. It wore great. Got to try on that one, and then the what is it, Ever Brilliant Steel version with the purple dial. I don't know the reference
Yeah.
number for that one, but I really like that one too. I think I told you this privately. I owned the SLA 043 Seiko that had the Ever Brilliant Steel, but that didn't come on a bracelet. So it was wild to see for the first time in person a full case and braceleted Ever Brilliant Steel watch. That it's just so white. That metal is just
Right.
it's so white. It looks really interesting. And that purple dial was understated. I really like that watch.
Yeah. It was really nice. I think the one gripe that people had with that watch was it didn't have the micro adjust clasp.
Yeah, which I
Like the
think is
newly.
strange. Yeah.
Yeah. That was really strange. I don't know what rationalization Grand Seiko has for that, um but yeah, missed opportunity. That could have been a really really great watch.
If you're going to have them under the UFA moniker, you might as well make it uniform, make them all the same, right? You'd think. But
Yeah. Yeah. Or they could have put it on a strap and said this special edition, limited edition,
yeah.
and then not have to deal with the flash.
But I really think
But
the on the bracelet with the Ever Brilliant Steel, that purple one just looks great. But yeah, I love yours. I got my Marissa was with me at the authorized dealer, and she's like, "Wow, that's a really sharp looking watch." And I've had the SNR 045 with obviously a different spring drive movement, but that is rated to what, plus or minus 15 seconds per month. And I've worn it for like 3 weeks straight and it's not deviated at all. So I was like, oh man, they're already there with accuracy on this one, let alone the UFA, which is rated to minus or plus 20 seconds per year. So that thing's never going to deviate ever.
yeah, yeah. Because every spring drive, I've had a lot of spring drive watches, and every spring drive watch I've had has never, maybe 1 or 2 seconds a month. Like most of them have been bang on, but every spring drive watch I've had has never been a watch that was out of spec or even like close to spec in terms of how large that gap was, right?
Right.
Their tolerance gap. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know if they had to do any extra special magic to make this plus or minus 20 years a year, 20 seconds a year. I'm sure they had to. I'm sure they whatever they needed to do to get it to that ultra high tolerance. But yeah, accuracy isn't like it's nice, but it isn't really that big of a deal. It's more the technology that's really cool for me.
Yeah, the technology is really cool. And I'm sure on another podcast they could tell you why it's so accurate, but you're not going to get that on this one. From me
No,
anyway.
not the guy who woke up after years.
Right. No, it's such a cool watch. And I remember when that was released last year, I was thinking like, oh, this watch was made for Sanjay. He has to get one of these eventually. And it took a while, but you did.
Well, I was on like when I found out about it, I did ask about it from my AD, and they couldn't get one for a while. I heard there was a recall on it. There was a delay too. I know there was a delay, and then there was a recall. I don't know if it's just Reddit information, but so take it with a grain of salt. But I think they had issues with the date disc alignment
Mm.
and something to do with the class. And so they recalled all of the watches and they fixed it. Because my watch has a serial number from November of 2024. So it's definitely been one of the ones that's been taken back.
Hmm.
Because that's what, coming up on a year and a half now since this watch left the factory, or the case left the factory. So yeah, something happened. Some issue came up, and it looks like they fixed it. So I'm not too concerned.
Yeah, because that watch wasn't even formally released until Watches and Wonders last year, I think I'm correct on that. So that came out in
Yeah, I
April
think
of
so.
25. So yeah.
Yep. But this watch has a serial number from November of 24.
Hmm.
So they were. I'm sure that's normal because they've been. I mean, you got to make
Right.
a batch of watches for a bit, be ready to release. Um, so I'm sure that's normal. But then because I got this in 2026, it definitely had to go back to Japan. I'm assuming, and I'm guessing it was because of either the date disc or the class, where they had to do some re-quality check or something like that. But I'm not really too concerned about it, especially because now Grand Seiko has 5 years, which I'm sure they've been doing for 2 years or so now.
Yeah.
5-year warranty.
Yeah, so I guess that's a good segue into mine. It's a brand new movement, and I'm getting ahead of myself here. The Girard Perregaux Laureato 50, but I actually kind of swore off on new movements a couple years ago. I don't know if you're aware of this. I bought the Breitling Aerospace Orbiter B70. It was celebrating like this balloon traveled around the world, like a hot air balloon called the Orbiter, and there are actually pieces of this balloon like in the case back of the Breitling Aerospace. It was orange. It was super cool. Brand new movement. I think it was called the B70. And Breitling had so many problems with this. Almost every one that was purchased had to be sent back. There were, mine, I got it. Beautiful. Loved it. Always wanted an aerospace. It was titanium, a little bigger watch, but titanium. So super light. And immediately the pushers worked like every 4 or 5 pushes. The minute hand was wobbling, which a lot of people had, flickering on the digital windows. And I had to send it back. And then a couple of months later, my AD messaged me and said, you know what, I'm going to give you a refund on this because we have no idea when we're getting this back. And I feel so bad that you bought this from us. And there's clearly a problem. So she gave me my money back after like 2 months. So I was very happy about that. But I swore off at that moment getting a brand new movement. Wait for maybe the second watch with that movement so they can figure out all the bugs. So that made me nervous. But here I am with a very expensive watch with a brand new movement. But yeah, so I have been, I don't know, flirted with two-tone for a while. It's kind of like a cool, I always thought it was like a grandpa watch, but like I'm getting to that age now where I could technically be like a cool grandpa. I have gray, my beard is gray. I can pull that look off now. And I'm getting close-ish to retirement age, right? I'm closer than further away. So I've been flirting with it. I had the Oyster Quartz, the 1988 Oyster Quartz. It was two-tone. Marissa, my wife, hated that watch. She said, "Oh God, that watch is hideous. It's a grandpa watch." She thinks all the date justs are kind of two-tone anyway, or like grandpa watches. She's like, "Oh, that looks so dumb." I was like, "Oh God, I think it looks kind of cool." But I eventually moved on from that one, and then this watch, when it was released, I was in love. It's two-tone, but in like a very modern way, and I had started watching videos on it. Keith and I did a power ranking episode where we listed our top 10 favorite releases from last year at the end of 2025. This was number 5 on my list, even though it was priced astronomically. I think it retailed for 28,300 USD. So it was like a pipe dream watch, but it was just one of those watches I could not get out of my head. Very rarely will I consume a lot of content on a super expensive watch. If it's not a realistic possibility that I could buy it, then I sort of just like, oh, why waste time and energy on it, right? But
Right.
couldn't escape this one. And then Keith loves it too. And there's even like a Mito now that has been released, and I forget the name of the model, but he sent it to me, and it's two-tone, and it looks kind of exactly like the Laureato, a bit of an homage maybe, but it's their own thing. But that's like $1,000. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. That would be like the much less expensive alternative to a pipe dream watch that I would never be able to get. But yeah, Keith and I were kind of borderline obsessed with this watch for whatever reason. I just thought it moved two-tone out of the grandpa, maybe like a really cool grandpa who drives like a Corvette or something. That's the kind of guy I was thinking of, and that's not me at all. But then a few weeks ago, Keith sent me a listing from Topper, and he said, "Oh baby," and it was the GP Laureato 50. Topper is a great pre-owned seller, and they had this at 95% condition, case and bracelet, and I knew that meant it was probably like a closer to 100%. They sort of under promise with their condition rankings, I would say. And the price, I was like starting to figure out like, okay, I haven't bought a watch in a while. I've really kind of slowed down. So I had some money saved, and I can always sell some things. I really hadn't sold much anymore either, just because it's not as fun as it used to be. It's harder and harder to do with the watch market and the economy and everything. And I sort of refined what I like and didn't really want to sell anything. But I started to, then I messaged my wife, and I was like, I think I can make this happen. Is it stupid? She's like, yeah, it's very stupid. But she's like, you have money if you want to do it. I was starting to say, well, I can sell some things. And then I got on the phone with Topper, and she's like, oh, of course, I want to see you in this watch. What can I do to get you in this watch today? Right. And I thought, okay, I looked at all the other prices online of this watch, and they were considerably higher, like way higher. And I thought, well, I was only going to buy one watch this year anyway, and I want it to be something special. I was thinking of the Titanium Santos or a Creedor, the Quan, which a friend of mine has, and it's just amazing. I was trying to get him to sell me his, but he actually got it in Japan at the flagship Grand Seiko store. So there were a lot of memories attached to that. He had flirted with selling it, but I think his wife said, "You're not selling that." So he didn't. And of course, I'd have to go through Chrono 24, and there'd be tariffs and VAT and everything. So I was a little leery of going that way. And so basically blew my whole year's watch budget. I'll end up selling a couple watches probably, although I'm in the process now and it's not that fun. So I'm reminded of why I hate selling. So yeah, the Girard Perregaux Laureato 50 is my new watch. It's basically the Laureato came out in 1975. I think it was sandwiched between the Royal Oak and the Nautilus in terms of when that sort of integrated bracelet craze hit. The original was quartz, but it was two-tone. The original was bimetal. It had it had cap center links, which we'll get to in a bit, but it had a gold bezel as well. It was quartz. I believe it was one of the first quartz chronometers ever released back in the 70s when that technology was new and exciting, and the quartz crisis was really kicking off. So, yeah, really quick. This one is 39 millimeters. The thing that drew me to it was the thinness, under 10 millimeters thick. I'm increasingly in love with thin watches. I have the Nomos Neomatic World Timer. I'm not sure if you've seen that one while you were asleep.
I have not.
Oh, we have so much catching up to do, my friend. But anyway, Nomos essentially crammed a world timer movement, a really cool watch. It was like one of the hottest releases last year. Nomos had a hype watch.
Really?
Yeah.
Almost?
Yeah, they did 6 limited edition colorways, and then they've done more since, but that's what they introduced: 2 standard editions, and then 6 limited edition colorways. I got the Dune colorway. They sold out fast. 175 pieces of each. They sold out fast. That watch is less than 10 millimeters thick, and it has a complication in it. So come on, Omega and Tudor and all these other brands who can't seem to thin down their watches. Nomos did it. You can do it.
That was one of the watches you guys talked about on that podcast, right? The top 10.
Yeah, that was actually my number one. It was the only one I actually bought. Yeah. Well, now I've bought 2 from that list with the GP, but yeah, that was number 1 on my list.
What's the diameter on it?
It's Yeah, I think it's 38 or 39. Traditionally Nomos has really long lugs. I forget the lug width or the lug to lug right now, but it's manageable. That wears great. It's under 40, and
Okay.
then it's like 9 point, same as this, same thickness as this, I think 9.8 millimeters.
Huh.
Yep.
Wow. Interesting. I'll have to look that up.
It does come on a bracelet with polished center links, which I don't think matches the vibe of the watch, but I did get a two-piece nylon strap from Nomos, and I think that works. And this thing's a strap monster. I've worn it on leather. I've worn it on, NATO straps. I've worn it on hook and loop. I've worn it on the two-piece nylon. It just goes with everything. Even though the color is sort of out there, it goes with a bunch. I love wearing it on this like orange two-piece nylon strap. I just got like a cheap one from Amazon. I think it's so fun. Yeah, so that's really one of my favorite watches, and I'm doing everything I possibly can to not sell it with the purchase of the GP. And I think that one's going to stay. Other hard choices may have to be made. I responsibly probably have to sell at least 2 watches, and that's fine. And I think that'll give me an 8-watch collection, and I will be on a forced break from buying for a long time. Marissa will officially kill me if I am not. Let's just say that. So,
Yeah.
regardless of, the past where I've said that and then totally do the opposite, I think this time it has to stick for fear of my life and just for being a responsible partner with somebody financially. Yeah.
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 So,
Wow.
yeah. So this one, it's super wearable. The bracelet's really thin. The watch is super thin. It kind of feels like the same. And I think Evan talked about this too. The bracelet is 5 millimeter thick links, and when you hold it and look at it, it kind of makes the watch seem like it's 5 millimeters. It all sort of seems like the same thickness, which is really cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's really wearable. It has the hobnail or clou de Paris dial. It's like I said, it's a brand new movement with they call it the silicium escapement. So silicon escape wheel and lever. It's apparently more anti-magnetic, more durable. Again, you're not going to get much technical on this podcast. Yeah, and it looks like the first model, roughly. And I think now we'll get into the controversy. Jack Forrester, in his article that I read in October when I was obsessed with this watch initially, he was the only one to mention that it had gold capped center links. And he seemed to, say they did that to pay homage to the original model, which also had gold capped center links, and make it look like that since it is an anniversary model. Also limited edition to 200 pieces. And that's where the controversy came in a little bit, because GP did not explicitly say that this had gold capped center links for $28,000 retail US. Out of principle, it probably should have had solid gold center links. Now, I said this last week in my episode, I plan on wearing this watch a lot, and I would probably destroy solid gold center links because the whole thing will be soft. There are pros and cons to having capped versus solid. Wearability, I think they're going to hold up to damage more, a capped center link, so I'm fine with it. But I think GP wasn't clear, and that's where the controversy comes in. And I think there were probably more than a few people who bought this watch at full retail or from an authorized dealer, probably got some sort of discount, who thought they were getting, a two-tone watch with solid gold center links. And then there were some loud voices. One person on Instagram who is connected with the brand, I guess, in some form or fashion, or he has access to people who can do things at the brand. And then eventually, after a lot of him being very loud about it, they put on the website, on the listing, that it does have capped gold center links. But this in the GP fan base universe, which I have become a part of now. I guess I'm in. That guy invited me to be in this like Laureato Facebook group and everything. And, it's a little bit of a divisive watch in there, but everybody agrees for the price I got it for that it's a good buy. But it still has solid gold bezel, solid gold crown, solid gold rotor. The capped center links thing doesn't bother me really at all, because the watch is just so sexy. I mean, it's just, I feel great wearing it. I think it looks amazing. Even my wife, who was totally disgusted by the Oyster Quartz Datejust two-tone, loves this watch. She doesn't love the price, but she loves the watch. And it's so great to wear. It's also, I think, with solid gold center links, it'd be much heavier to wear as well. And you don't get that with this. So, but really, always wanted to check out a Laureato. I think it's my favorite of those like kind of integrated bracelet watches in that realm. I put it a step below like the Royal Oak and the Nautilus and even the Overseas, but I've always loved the design, and it's more accessible than those watches. Maybe that's part of the reason. So I finally have one in the collection, and I'm over the moon about it.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, it does look really good, and I'm surprised. I'm surprised your wife really likes it too, because
Yeah.
I thought for sure she'd be mocking you like
No,
like mine does.
no, she, yeah, like I said, with the oyster quartz, she definitely did. She just, every time I wore that, she was like, ugh. But yeah, and I'm just drawn to this 70s integrated bracelet design. Like even the oyster quartz, I absolutely love that case. And the Land Dweller doesn't have much going for it, in my opinion, except the case and overall design. Like I really,
Yeah.
I really love that. The brushing is so well done on this too. Horizontal brushing on the links and the top of the case. And it's visible. Like I don't have the best eyesight, and I'm even in low lighting right now, and it sticks out like a sore thumb, and it looks so good. And also the radial brushing on the bezel, like it's one of the more impressive, probably the most impressive watch I've ever owned. I love how they color match the date wheel, date window. That looks great. The crown action, the winding just feels so good and premium. The movement is, $1 million. The rotor is gold, and it's basically modeled after that Three Bridges design, that with the tourbillon that GP has too as well. So it's just a pretty movement to look at, and I absolutely love the watch.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds really nice. I'm really happy for you.
Thank you.
Such a cool piece to have.
Oh, and the best part I forgot to mention real quick is it's a butterfly clasp, but it has micro adjust. It has 2 millimeters on each side that it pulls out. So if you can, if it's a hot day or maybe you eat a little salty dinner or something, you can just pull out that adjustment. Usually in the evening, I pull out one side and that works. And the best part is the clasp stays centered in the middle of my wrist, which is still something I'm kind of borderline obsessed with. So I think every butterfly clasp should come with some system like this. So this watch just has so much going for it.
Yeah. And is that a micro adjust system? Is that like a friction pole kind of thing?
Yeah. Nope. No spring at all. It just kind of, no, I know what you're talking about. Like Zodiac had one like that, I believe. No, this one isn't like that. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a very solid click. A very solid click. You pull on it. Yep. Pull on the end link. And it's really nifty. And yeah, you don't have to do both sides. You can just do one side. The way I have it now, I think in the summer, I'll probably have to do both sides, but now I can have it in all the way. And then maybe in the evening after dinner, if it's a little saltier, I'll pull out one side and it's perfect.
You say you probably don't know what kind of thickness the capping is, right? Have you found out any about it?
No, I have not, and that'd be a good question to ask on that Laureato group I'm in now, and maybe I will dig on that. Yeah, I know we talked about Tudor is very transparent in that, which is surprising and also refreshing.
Yes, yeah. And are you able to, like, if you look at the side profile of that center link, like if you take one of the links you've removed and you look at the side, you should be able to see like the thickness of the cap, right? Because I'm not sure what that link looks like exactly off the top of my head, but because with the Tudors, you can see how much gold there is, and then you can see the steel under it. If you look at it from the side.
I have not done that, but I will do that when we're done.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will do that. I'd be curious. They're very thin links. I mean, they're super thin. So I imagine there's not much gold. They're very thin links.
Yeah. And GP, they're independent now, right?
Yes.
Or do you know? Yeah.
I think they're somehow intertwined with Ulysses Nardin because they both left like the Caring group. And maybe there's a reason. I know I was looking at the Morgan Stanley report at their numbers, and they've dropped like $30 million in revenue in the last couple of years. So maybe it wasn't an accident that they went capped gold, but Jack Forster didn't seem to have a problem with it. He thought it was in line. This is an anniversary piece. I know it's kind of a cop out, and they should have, but that could be their rationale, right or wrong, as to why they did it, to try and save themselves. I don't know if it's a big deal outside of like a GP fan base. I'm not sure that's a big deal. Like I said, for wearability sake, like I'm fine with it. But if I paid full retail and I didn't know that, I'd be pretty upset.
Mm. Yeah, because the limited, it's a limited edition.
200 pieces. Yep, 200. 200. Yep.
And I can't imagine that they would have saved a whole ton of money. Maybe there's more hidden costs than I don't know. Just for 200 pieces. I mean, if it was like a regular production model, I would get it. But just for 200 pieces, you couldn't, spring for the
right. Maybe the movement. It's the first watch with this movement. So maybe I don't know. Maybe there was a lot of R&D in that, and they were looking to save money. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Oh, it's. I'm glad it doesn't bug you.
No.
I had like a similar thing. I was telling you about this too. But a similar thing happened to me with the Tudor Black Bay 36 Steel and Gold. Is the previous gen, again, I don't know if everyone was kind of duped on it back then, and everyone thought the previous gen had a solid gold bezel and a solid gold crown, but it wasn't really so. But the new gen definitely doesn't. Because Tudor just straight up tells you that it's a capped gold bezel and a capped gold crown. You got 0.3 mils of gold on it, which is a significant amount. But at the same time, when I purchased that steel and gold, I was thinking of the old gen, like the previous one with the ETA movement, which had the solid gold bezel. And I was thinking, this is a lot expensive than it used to be, but at least it has that solid gold bezel, which is really cool. And the bracelet links can be capped gold. I don't really care about that. I'm a strap guy anyway. And that's kind of how I was rationalizing the price bump. And when I got home and I looked at the spec page for whatever reason, a couple of days later, like, the bezel isn't solid gold. It's actually capped as well. And that did make me do some soul searching after. Because, because if it was a GP, I would have been that customer, right? Yeah. I went in thinking, okay, this part is gold, and I bought it, went home with it, and a few days later, I find out it's not really gold, not really full gold, and that's really upsetting. So
yeah, I knew beforehand, but yeah, I think probably a lot of people didn't. And I think that was the major sticking point. It's like, just tell us, because then people can make an informed decision. If you're okay with that, and you still want to spend that kind of money, then that's fine. At least you know.
Yeah. But and since then, I was thinking about why it is an issue. I don't know if you've had put any thought into it about why people might be upset about capped gold versus solid gold. Not just a monetary thing, right? That's the obvious. That's the low hanging fruit,
right?
But but I think there's more to it than just that. Do you want to talk about that, or?
Sure. Yeah. So I think from what I've gathered, and everyone agrees that this is just like a really sexy watch. I think most of the people in that GP forum I'm in, it's basically specs for price, like you said. That's what it is. That people and also the lack of transparency. Now, I did research pros and cons to it. Wearing is a pro for cap gold because gold is soft. So a full gold center link, I mean, you could do some serious damage to it if you banged your watch or something, versus capped.
Well, nowadays would have like a ceramic tube in the link, right? I guess, especially Rolex. I think they have like a ceramic. tried the gold to prevent wear and stretch and stuff like that.
Right. And that's the other, but that is one of the cons is stretching, right? So this bracelet won't stretch. And
Mm.
even people who are arguing with it, we're trying to say like, yeah, the bracelet won't stretch. Also, it's easier to refinish solid gold where in terms of capped center links, not so much. And I would never really get this watch refinished anyway. I'm not anybody, I want all of my scratches on. If I keep this watch for 20 years, in a perfect world, I'd never get it touched, polished, or anything like that. So, but yeah, there's only a certain amount of gold when it's capped, right? So if you get a watch refinished, you're removing some of that gold. So that is one of the major cons of, if you're somebody who likes to get your watch polished every 2 years or something, then you're going to be in a little bit of trouble with cap gold center links. I'm not that person. So everything's a pro for me, except for it'd be nice to have more gold, obviously, but
Yeah.
from just a day-to-day wearing standpoint, I'm totally fine with it.
Yeah. I was thinking, there's like this, some people like the look of gold, but they don't necessarily want the gold.
Right.
Um, which is such an interesting, um, that's such an interesting mindset, I think, is, I mean, the color is really nice, but I was trying to rationalize why someone would not want gold, other than the monetary aspect. If all things were equal, and if you could just have the gold, would someone still go for the gold, or would they still go for the cap gold or plated gold or PVD coat? And um, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I'm just in like the beginning stages of thinking this out. Um, but I was thinking for me personally, I don't think it's definitely not the monetary side of things, but it's more of the I don't I would feel like I'm lying to myself if you know like if I had a P that's why I stay away from PVD coating, um because I to me it feels like a lie. And I'm not projecting onto anyone else. Like, if someone has PVD coated watches, and um, I can still appreciate them, which I still do. Like, if someone at work is wearing like a different watch and it's gold PVD coated, I'd still gawk at it and ask them about it. Um, but but for me personally, I would think I would be lying. I would be lying to myself about a PVD coating that looks like gold, and it would just not feel right to me. I'd rather not have it than than I'd rather not have it than pretend like it is gold, like, because I feel like I would be pretending in my mind that it is gold, which is why it bugged me so much when I found that the bezel on the Black Bay 36 steel and gold was actually now capped.
Yeah. I can see how
Which
that would
is,
be, a shock.
yeah.
Yeah,
For me,
yeah. I mean, if this whole watch was cap gold, I would be, and I believe me, I did research on that just to make sure. But no, the rest of it's solid gold, the bezel and everything. So, I mean, I had the girdle, and I enjoyed the heck out of that watch. That, and my neighbor wears it. I don't know if people think it's actually solid gold or not. I mean,
right.
it's a Seiko, well, it's cost $300. So,
But see, the other thing there is, no one, even if you had a gold watch, most people would think it's PVD coated now, right?
mhm.
It's no one actually assumes that you'd be crazy enough to actually wear a $40,000, $50,000 gold
Right,
watch.
right.
Uh, so I guess there's some safety in a sense, like like uh, an untoward person might know what it is, I'll still go for it. But for the regular Joe, I think there's some safety knowing that there's so much PVD coating and so much capping and so much plating that everyone thinks everything is just plated anyway. Uh,
I've said this before. I think everybody thinks every watch is fake anyway. I went to a bar last summer with my friend, and this girl started talking to us, and I was wearing my Detroit Lions Breitling Chronomat Beezer one. I had it on the bullet bracelet, so it's an impressive chunk of steel, right? I didn't think anything of it, and she's like, all right, what's the deal with this? And she lifted my hand up and looked at the watch. I was like, oh, it's my watch. She's like, is it real? You can tell me if it's fake. I don't care. I was like, no, it's real. She's like, why are you wearing that in here? I was like, I don't know. It's a dive bar. It was really like a dive bar, a horror movie bar that my friend and I like to go to sometimes. And they show horror movies on the TVs, and they have like Freddy Krueger pinball machines and everything. So yeah, it was. I didn't think anything of it, but it's funny. I really don't put much thought into when I'm wearing a watch that maybe I shouldn't wear at certain places. I don't know. I don't. I think she was like, wow, this is nice. She like took it off and was handling it and everything. I could have caught her if she ran away with it. I could have taken her, but I didn't feel like she was gonna steal it. Maybe I should. Maybe I was in another country or something. I might be a little more leery, but she was talking to. She knew like somebody who knew my friend, so I wasn't really too nervous that she was gonna run away with it or anything. But yeah,
Yeah. Well, okay. I gotta ask, when people say dive bar, I always think of like an aquatic theme bar.
no, it's like a dumpy place.
Okay.
Yeah, like like a corner hole in the wall kind of bar that's maybe looking a little run down, where you can get a beer for $1.75, and it's maybe not the best beer in the world. Yeah, that kind of place. Yeah, but it has a certain charm that draws you to it.
Waiters on wearing scuba gear and
no. I guess that would be a funny idea, and actually name it the dive bar.
Yeah,
and I'm sure like some resort has that or something.
Yeah. In the Maldive Islands or Indonesia.
We're actually going to Cabo in a few weeks here for a little tropical vacation getaway. So I will let you know if I see a place called the Dive Bar.
Yeah, that's good. That's exciting. How long are you guys going for?
Just like 5 days. We wanted to like actually plan like a real trip to Portugal or something, and then my brother-in-law and his wife, Marissa's brother, his wife, and my two nieces were going away the same week. It was like their spring break in school, and we thought, you know what? Why not just hang out with them for a few days? And our nieces are getting older, and we don't get to see them a ton, so it might be nice to get some quality time with them. So yeah, we're all kind of going together, staying at the same resort. So it'll be fun.
Yeah, that sounds nice.
And I think he's interested in buying a watch while we're there. So he has an Aquis now that he really likes. And I bought Marissa a mother of pearl Oris Aquis at the holidays, and she likes that watch way more than she likes the Tudor, actually.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, I don't know why, but she opts to wear it. Maybe I don't think it's a dial color, because she really likes like that blue. But I don't know, for whatever reason, she really loves that Oris Aquis, and I haven't asked her outright, but I think she would pick that one over the Lagoon Blue BB54.
And that would be like the 36 mil Aquis, right?
Yeah, it's like 36.5. Yeah. I think maybe it's the polishing, how they polish the outer links and then the center links are brushed. I think she likes that. I think it's just a little more, she doesn't like overly feminine watches, but I think, believe it or not, it's just like a little more feminine than that BB54, which draws her to it.
I completely agree, because the BB54 still has those straight lugs to make it more masculine.
Yeah, definitely.
The Aquis is rounded and curves, more feminine for sure. I would say.
Yeah. Well, that's about an hour and a half. I guess we should probably stop. But yeah, that's our new watches. Sanjay, oh man, this was so much fun. I know we could do like a marathon 3-hour podcast. I'd still have a lot to talk to you about. Missed talking to you, and glad you are awake now. I'm not exactly sure, what that means going forward. Any plans to add anything else, or are you just going to kind of stay put for now and enjoy your new UFA?
Oh, there's so many new things now. Like, because my now that I've kind of woken up, air quotes, my news feed is showing me watches and stuff again because it
Mhm.
stopped doing that. um, so it's hard to stay focused. Um, but I don't anticipate adding anything new for a while. Unless if I find a good deal or something on one of those watches I want to reacquire. So like that Alpinist or the ah, can't remember the King Seiko. Was it maybe it was a King Seiko? It's definitely one of the SLA models, like the either the SLA 055 or the SLA 057,
Mm.
like the Marine Master 200 with the Marine Master 300 style case with ever brilliant steel. Um, I would like to add that back, but there's just so many I would like to add back, but I'm not sure if I actually am feeling nostalgic for them or if I actually want them again. Um, so I'll have to do some soul searching there. But that's the plan. Hoping to stay in touch with people more often now. Like make a stronger effort to pull myself away from work when I need to, rather than just obsessing over everything like concepts and methods and trying to improve myself. And like I was off the deep end there. Like even when I was whole geometry videos and um, the triangulation stuff. It was just I had gone insane. So I'm trying to pull myself back and be a bit more healthy mentally.
Well,
So
it
yeah,
says a lot about you. I know you took this opportunity in your career seriously, and you devoted yourself to it, and that says a lot about you, and that's why I was never upset that were out of the watch game or anything like that. No, I would or like that. We didn't talk as much. Obviously, I missed you, but that's the kind of person you are. You have integrity and you care about what you do, and I knew that's what you were doing. And also, you have an ever growing family, and your kids are getting older. So, yep, you're. I don't know, if I could. I've not taken an extended break from watches since I've been in the hobby. It'd probably be a healthy thing for me to do. I've taken breaks from the podcast because, like we talked about earlier, I can get pretty bogged down in the fun things in life, like the
mm,
podcast and like making it better and editing and thinking about ideas. And then the actual things I need to do, like sending invoices and, being a business owner and being a husband and partner can easily kind of fall by the wayside. So I think that's why I have taken extended breaks from the podcast, and now I feel like I have a pretty good balance. And I've been doing it pretty regularly since June of last year, and
yeah.
I've gotten way better at balancing it out and not feeling so bad if I have to miss a week or two. So
Mm,
if I do, you know what, I do.
yeah. No, that's really healthy. That's really good to hear. And I'm glad you're still doing it because I know a few times you said you were done.
Yeah, I actually quit. I
Like,
actually did
ah,
release an episode saying, that's it. It's over. I was trying to do
yeah.
an episode that day and I just couldn't get it. You ever record a video and you do like a bunch of takes and you're just like, that's it. I can't do it today. And I
Yeah.
did that. It was in the morning. I had an idea. I couldn't make it work. I said, you know what? I'm quitting. I recorded a 3 minute episode saying I was quitting, and then I put that out. And yeah, I went back on that and I actually deleted that episode because I thought that might be a little confusing. You uh,
Right.
you listen to this episode where I say I'm done, and there's 50 episodes after it. I have it saved for
That's
the
like
next time I have a meltdown, though.
that's isn't that like the mega YouTube creator how they get people to watch their channel again?
Yeah, that's right. Or musicians will do like a farewell retirement tour, and then 2 years
Right.
later they go back out on tour. Well, my friend, amazing to catch up with you. I know Bobby really wants you to come back on Watch Soup, but unless we record Watch Soup at 6 in the morning on a Saturday, I'm not sure about that because I know you have so much going on. But obviously, we'd love to have you join us there as well. But I'm so happy I got you for
Uh,
this.
I wish I wish I could come back. I would, oh, man. I there's so much like I'm missing. I miss you guys, and I do want to spend more time with you guys, but it's just, yeah. I know it'll be there again, you know. Um, when the kids are older and they've left, I'm sure I'll, I'm sure there will be more time in the nights again, and it won't feel like I'm dead the next day. So yeah, just need a few more years.
Yeah, we can, you know what? We can wait 20 years for you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
All right, my
Cheers.
friend. Well, I really appreciate you joining. Thank you so much. And yeah, we'll talk again soon.
Yes, yes. Let's talk soon.
And there he goes, my buddy Sanjay, awake after a couple years of, you know what, focusing on the things in life that he needed to do, stepping away from watches a little bit, focusing on his new job, his growing family. And you know what? You have to commend him for that. As much as we miss his YouTube channel and him appearing on the podcast regularly, man, he's such a great guy for the sacrifices he makes. And it's great to have him awake again. All right. Let me know what you thought of the interview, our new watches. You can leave me a message on Instagram, probably the best way to get in touch with me. This gets released as a YouTube video as well. You can comment there. You can also text the podcast. I'm dying over here. Jesus. Hope you heard that wheeze. You can text the podcast. I can't text you back. I'm not being rude. Love to hear from you. Love your feedback. And yeah, I'm going to get out of here and take some Dayquil because I have to work now. But again, thank you so much for listening, and we'll catch you on the next episode of the Watch Dang podcast. See you later.